morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Kim, for the great introduction. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Angelica Owens, and I am a portraitist. Some people say I'm a photographer, which is technically true, but I consider myself a portraitist because I only photograph things with faces. And this has started at a young age, which I will kind of explain to you. But what's the difference? A lot of people ask. What is the difference between a portrait and a photograph? There's some beautiful photographs all throughout the room in here. A photograph can be anything that a camera exposes with light. But a portrait is meant to capture a facet of your character. And I love capturing that in people. So, a little about my journey. I was homeschooled until I was 18, in the middle of the wilderness, literally off of a dirt road called Wilderness, comically in the middle of nowhere. I took up a passion for pencil portraiture. I had a lot of time to be creative and explore different pursuits in that homeschooled upbringing. So I would buy fashion magazines and find portraits that I really liked and draw them in pencils, as you can see some examples on the screen there. And I wanted to be a portrait artist for a living. I didn't know how to do that, but that was my goal when I was a teenager. And then life happens and you end up going to college, and then they're like, don't pursue the arts. So I went to school for business, and I studied business management with a concentration in hospitality and tourism. I'm very passionate about the service industry. Crafting memorable experiences for people is one of my biggest strengths and the foundation of my brand. While it is a portrait studio, the experience that I craft is at the forefront of what I do. So in college, I dabbled with photography, videography, kind of discovered that a camera was a different medium to create portraits with. And in 2014, my husband and I started a wedding film and photo company. We did this for a couple years. We didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't have a network. We didn't have a community. We didn't price ourselves appropriately, lots of things. And it ended up being kind of a loss, and so we closed the business. Just wasn't the right path for us. So I shifted my focus into creating a portrait experience that really leveraged hospitality, making people feel seen and comfortable so that they could actually open up and be authentic on camera. So in 2017, I launched my portrait studio brand in a historic building in downtown Medford. I went all in, I went to all the networking events, I did everything I could do to get the name out there, and I left my day job a few months later, and I was a full-time photographer for a couple years in the community. And it was fantastic. And then in 2019, I had my second child, and I experienced some pretty severe postpartum depression. I didn't experience this with my first child, so I was kind of blindsided it with my second. I wildly underestimated how difficult it would be going from one child to two and then trying to run a business on top of that. So I could barely focus on anything, let alone a business. So I decided to close my books, bring on a studio mate so I didn't have to lose the studio, and figure out some job I could do in the short term until I got my health back in order. So the next few years were interesting because that was the end of 2019, and I started to feel like myself again in February of 2020, and then the whole world shut down. So the job I had gotten was with Lithium Motors, with their corporate division. I was hired on the beta team for what became the Driveway brand. That was such a huge opportunity to be part of a national e-commerce startup that as everything was shutting down around me and I couldn't be within 6 feet of people, I couldn't be photographing them, it was a great opportunity to, see where that takes me. And that took me accidentally climbing a corporate ladder for about 5 years. So I continued to take portrait clients on the side, but it wasn't my main focus. I did some, photography for Lithia, and I did, clients here and there because I still had the studio and I still had my studio mates. But by 2024, April of 2024, I had finally had enough. I wanted to transition back into working for myself. So I left corporate America and I pursued business consulting. I have a background in business. I worked in operations for the corporation for 5 years. Had amassed this skill set that I thought would be really helpful to the community and smaller businesses, helping them with some of the toolkits that big Fortune 500 companies use to help them grow. And that was great, and I loved it. And that is still a separate passion for me. I still have a handful of clients, and I will take them on a selective basis. But it is a separate passion, and I am an artist first. So that brings us to today. Earlier this year, I was kind of wrestling with the business side of myself versus the artist side of myself, and upon that reflection, really realized that that is what I am most happy doing, is being an artist. So I specialize, as I said, in portraits, particularly in the boudoir, headshot, branding, couples, those types of genres. I don't work with like newborns or things like that, but they give you some great referrals. And I create custom portrait experiences. They're designed to capture your essence. That is what the heart of what I do, is really tailoring the experience around how can this person feel comfortable and relaxed and feel seen and feel heard through a highly personalized concierge service. So we do wardrobe consulting. I come to your home. We pick out all of the clothes you're going to wear, or anybody in the shoot what clothes they're going to wear, so you don't have to worry about what that's going to look like. I provide day of catering, hair and makeup styling, posing direction, an array of fine art albums, wall art. It's full service from top to bottom, so you don't have to worry about anything in the process. Every detail is handled with white glove service to deliver a memorable experience designed to guide your best self forward. The less stressed you are about your photo experience and the more connected you feel as a person, the more your authenticity will shine on camera. I do executive portraits for CEOs and C-suites. I do branding and curated portrait for small teams as well. And this year, we just opened a brand new studio, opened effectively November 7th of this year, so we're brand new. My studio mates that were downtown Medford for the last several years had been looking for another space for a while, and we just couldn't find anything that fit our taste, so we decided, hey, what if we combined our resources and we built something from scratch? And so we did. So about a year ago, we scouted out a location, we signed the contracts, we sat down with graph paper and drafted out what it would look like, and we designed our dream studio. And it was a wild ride and an amazing process, and we're still finalizing things and bringing things in and making it the best that it can be. But we opened this month, and we're very, very excited. Yay! So, how you can support me. I would love if you could follow me on Instagram, QR code right there, and would love to know what are some creative ways that you could think of that would be good to promote the new studio. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boop. Yeah, I'll leave that one.
Yeah. We can open it up now. I have the microphone to any questions you may have for Angelica.
It's in Talent. Yes, right on Highway 99 next to the Domino's in the Clearview complex. Yes. Oh.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what you can expect when you do a full service boudoir photo shoot at your studio?
Yes, I can. So the first step in the process is to do the in-home wardrobe and design consultation. So I come to you in your home. We pick out wardrobe. If you don't have anything in your closet, then we can look online, or I've even gone shopping with clients as well. And that's where we're kind of discussing like the vision and the artistic styling, and then what wardrobe's going to go with that, because we usually do about 4 to 6 different looks or outfit changes. So once we figure that all out, and then I get your preferences in terms of beverage and dietary restrictions, all of that, and then I get the rest of the team scheduled, I get the charcuterie board ordered, all of your beverages arranged, your favorite music put together into a playlist, all of that details handled then. Then when you come to the studio, you have a hair and makeup artist, make sure your camera ready. And then I guide you through the full process of the posing, direction, outfit changes, all of that. And we sit down and we review the images together. So you only end up purchasing the ones that you absolutely love, and then I can create them into albums, wall art. Wall art comes with complimentary installation, lifetime warranty, and so you don't have to worry about any detail. So everything is handled so that you feel comfortable and planned.
So what about people who hate getting their photo taken?
Yes, that's every single client I've ever had. So no one comes to me wanting to have their photos taken. That is kind of the one big differentiators, is that I like working with people who don't like their photo, or they insist that they're not photogenic, and that's when I tell them, well, it's because you've only had photos of yourself, you haven't had a portrait, right? Because a portrait, as I mentioned, captures that facet of your character. So I want to create a space that's going to make you feel relaxed and at ease, and then I'm going to light you the right way, I'm going to guide your angles the right way, I'm going to make you look as flattering and authentic as possible on camera, so that shines, and that is the feedback that I get most often is that they feel like they really look like themselves. And so then when they see a photo that they actually looks like themselves, or even better than they thought they looked like, then they're very pleased with the process.
Can you tell us how you help people with their branding?
Yes, and I do. Actually just have a new package I'm rolling out with branding. But I love branding because your visual your identity is a huge part of your brand, especially if you're a personal brand. If you're somebody who is the face of your brand, say you're a coach or a nutritionist or something like that, like you are what people are going to remember. And so making sure that you're captured authentically and then also in the line with the rest of your brand is really important. So we're going to make sure that your colors are cohesive, that the messaging and the tone is cohesive. And then I also work with a fantastic graphic designer that I'm now doing a kind of a brand overhaul package where we can do new logo, new brand voice and tone, logo kits, and then your images to match everything together. Because a lot of times businesses will start with whatever branding they can put together. They grow to a certain point and they're kind of in need of a refresh, or their brand doesn't necessarily represent who they are and what they do. So being able to reimagine the brand, make it cohesive and flow together is really helpful for people. Yes.
So, being part of that startup in the tech industry, I'm in the same boat right now. What are some takeaways that you found as far as things that are great about corporate America and things that are really opportunities that new startups can leverage to set themselves apart?
That's a good question. I was in technically a startup, but it was a startup backed by a Fortune 200 They were spending $20 million a month on it. We're like, is that really a startup? So, yeah, right. Yeah. So it was competition. Yeah, so it was like, yeah. So I mean, I thought it was a great experience in terms of working together with teams. And I mean, there was a point in time I absolutely loved working there. Like, leadership really makes the difference. I think that's ultimately what it boils down to, is who's in charge, what kind of culture are they cultivating across the team dynamic, because that really makes or break it. Once our upper leadership changed, like the whole dynamic of the job changed. And so I think the more you can keep it people oriented and like team focused, the more success you'll have long term in that capacity. Yes.
Hi, I went to your website.
Yes.
And I see this Express headshot session.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a bit, including price point? Because this looks really expensive.
Yes, it is. It is an investment for sure, but it is also something that comes with a lot of planning and high touch
And high value.
Yes, and so that is more of an investment for the full custom sessions. But for the express sessions, those are much more digestible. Those are, you're in and out of the studio in about 2 hours. We still do 2 to 3 outfit changes. This is for they're advertised on the site right now for headshots, but they're for any single person photo shoot. So it could be boudoir, it could be, you and your pet or something like that. But an express session includes hair and makeup. We do a phone consultation where we go over wardrobe. I just don't come to you for wardrobe, but I'll still give you guidance on that. And usually I'll just tell people to bring extra outfits and we'll narrow them down day of, and I'll give you help with it that way. But you come in, hair and makeup, we go through your shoot, and then we pick your images same day. 2 portraits come with your session. That's a $490 package, and then includes the hair and makeup as well. And delivery within 7 days on images. Actually, all sessions have image delivery within 7 days.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I was actually just talking to a friend yesterday, and you came up because you did a shoot with her. It was Julia.
Oh, yes.
You know Julia. Okay. So and she was talking about the process, and that she's an actress, so she's done a ton of photo shoots over the years, and she said it was probably the most unique experience that she's ever had, and she didn't even go through the whole process because she had time constraints. So
Right.
I guess what I would love to understand is the difference between an express shoot and the sort of like package process that you take people through, and like to the end user as far as like result goes, like what so explain that process, because
Yes.
I think I'd love to understand what that whole package is, and then B, does it also end up in a different result.
Yes, it does. So an express session is a digital only package for one. So images are delivered as digitals. There's no matching print that goes with that. It's also just the phone consultation and then the day of the session. So the total time investment for you is a lot shorter. It's a more condensed experience. So you're going to have a phone call. We're going to talk about your vision. We're going to talk about the wardrobe. We'll get you on the schedule. And then those are scheduled on selected days throughout the month, like usually one day per month. Get you scheduled, and then I send you a reminder text the day before with, what to bring, where the location is, reminders on what to expect. You do your hair and makeup for about an hour. We shoot for about 30 minutes. We review and make image selections for another 30 minutes. So you're in and out in about 2 hours. With a custom session, your in-home wardrobe consultation could take up to 4 hours. I had a two-location consultation the other day for a shoot we did yesterday because the couple doesn't live in the same house, and it was a couple shoot, so we had to go to 2 different locations to pick out wardrobe. So that's going to be a lot more high touch. So we're picking out wardrobe, we're picking out design. We're doing like 4 to 6 different looks, and that could be different genres as well. So you could be doing branding and boudoir, you could be doing branding and family, or some combination. We can do whatever you want because it's fully customized to you. We can also go into multiple locations. So we can start in studio and then go on location or do exclusively on location. I did a branding shoot a couple months ago on a beautiful Tuscan villa for a real estate agent. She wanted to have that high-end property vibe. So that's a possibility as well. And then those come with matching prints with the digital, either in a folio box or albums. I can also do wall art and then wall art installation. So I mean, the total time invested in that is multiple meetings, right? We're doing an initial phone consultation, we're doing the in-home consultation, the actual session, and the actual session itself is usually about to start 10 a.m. start, and it doesn't wrap until about 3 p.m. So it is kind of a full day. There's my assistant on staff, so she's helping with the process as well. Sometimes the hair and makeup artist stays longer if we're doing a premium session, and she'll stay the entire day of the shoot, and then we can do multiple hair changes, multiple makeup changes, touch-ups in between outfits. So it's more of a being like on-set production. Does that answer your question?
That is different than any shoot I've done before. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Angelica.
Hello.
So, 2 things. One, you answered one of the questions I had. Thank you very much for that, Trevor. In your capacity, you have obviously a group of people that you're working with. Are they contractors that you work with that you bring in when you need them for a specific shoot? That was one question. Mm-hmm. Then the second question is, what's your biggest friction points in your business for you that we might be able to throw out some ideas for you?
Yeah, great question. So yes, I do have contractors. I have 2 makeup artists that I work with, one that I've worked with for the last 9 years. She's great. She will also do floral design. So I had a client yesterday that was doing bridal portraits. So I had her design a bridal bouquet as a surprise for her because she thought we were just doing regular photos, and we ended up going to the location she's getting married and doing the full bridal portraits. And so so she's fantastic. She's a huge asset and partner to the company. And then I have my assistant, and then I work with Gray's Craze for charcuterie and catering. So yeah, there's quite a few little moving pieces there in terms of the contractors that I work with. And your second question was could you say that again? A friction point? Biggest friction point. I think right now it's re-educating my community that I'm not focusing so much on business consulting and that I am back to doing photography, because a lot of people thought I was retired from photography. And so it's kind of re-emerging back and kind of getting connected back with the community. And right now I'm really trying to build more of a clientele in the boudoir category. I'm pretty known for headshots and branding, which is great, and I love those too. I don't want to stop doing those. I just also really love doing the more fine art boudoir style, and so that's something if people could tell their friends, or if they hear someone talking about wanting to do a boudoir shoot or something, a referral for that would be fantastic.
Hi, Angelica.
Hello.
So for your question, some creative ways to promote the new studio. We've had a lot of questions asking about the vibe, the details of your process. And so having a short but very high quality video that kind of maybe follows a client through all of those steps, highlights the new studio, things that can be put on your website, but also highlighted on social media places and YouTube, that gives somebody an idea of what they can expect in their experience, because I think your experience is your selling point.
Yes.
More than the photographs themselves.
Yeah, I tell people it's the experience that the photos are a keepsake.
Exactly. And so being able to highlight that and kind of setting an expectation and just doing like a documentary style, it doesn't have to be long.
I would love to do that.
But like following a client through the whole process, and even
Yes.
doing several that shows like this is what the boudoir session looks like,
Yeah.
this is what the express session looks like. So that way somebody can just click on it and get a really good feel for what they're
I love
going
that.
to expect.
Yeah, I definitely want to get like a good brand film together on that, because I'll do like behind the scenes and I'll do stuff like on the day of, but like showing the whole process, I think totally would be awesome. Thank you.
So along the lines of like boudoir, people probably have a lot of different ideas of what that is and why somebody would be interested in that. Can you talk about why you are passionate about boudoir? And it was like literally in Sex and the City, like one of the ladies had like a boudoir thing, and she's like, this is the most empowering thing ever. And so I just want to hear your perspective on that, because that sounds like a terribly awkward experience otherwise.
Yes. So first of all, my style of boudoir is very different. I call it fine art intimate portraiture, but literally no one would Google that. So it's boudoir. And so I have a specialty in more like nude implied. I'm inspired by a lot of like figure drawings, Grecian artwork. And so like from a young age, I've just always loved that style of art. It's very like captivating, the light and shadow, the body lines. Like, so it's less about like being sexy or being performative. It's more about just being seen and the beauty of being human. And so like I don't just photograph women, I photograph men, I photograph couples, I photograph anybody with a body, and it's about being seen as you are, right? Like we're not gonna airbrush out stretch marks or cellulite or things like that. It's about being seen and comfortable in your skin, and that's what's so empowering, to be able to see through yourself through somebody else's eyes and see yourself as art. So I take somebody who's maybe insecure and uncomfortable in their body and then take them through a process where they see themselves as a piece of art, and that is very transformational. And for me, I am so passionate about that, because I hated being on camera. I will tell you that I'm not photogenic, and if anybody doesn't know how to photograph me, I'm like, ugh, get rid of that photo, right? I totally feel you, I hate that. And I never liked a photo of myself until I did a maternity boudoir session of myself with my first child back in 2016. And I remember this moment. It was actually in the studio that I was in for 9 years. It ended up becoming my studio. So that photographer actually became my studio mate down the road. But she took this shot, and she looked at the back of the camera, and she gasped, and she turned it around, and she showed it to me. And that was the first time I ever saw myself as beautiful. Sorry, it makes me emotional. And so I know personally how powerful that is. So I love giving that to other women and people.
Kind of piggybacking off of the other video idea, which is fantastic, you could also, for promoting the new studio space, have someone follow you while you introduce yourself, your years of experience, the address of the location, and you could offer some kind of event like March 20th, 2026 is the first day of spring, so anyone who books a boudoir photo shoot with you gets entered into a drawing for a package.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of tattoo artists and studios really kind of love that kind of aesthetic.
True.
And customers who go there, I would reach out to them also and see if they would share it on their Facebook page, Instagram, to kind of get the word out.
I like that. I haven't done a giveaway. That's a good idea. Thank you.
So Angelica, I know you've been married for the whole time through your journey. How has that partnership helped and strengthened you, and what are some ways that you had to navigate that relationship in order to kind of get your foot forward? I know your husband's really supportive, but it's still a challenge.
Yeah. Our first business was together, and don't recommend. So. So that was that was a learning opportunity. But yeah, outside of that, no, he is very supportive. I wouldn't be able to do anything that I'm able to do without his support, especially with the kids and juggling the schedules, and it's a lot of all of that. So yeah, I think just like being patient with each other as much as you can, and just really understanding like how much goes into running a business and marketing a business and fulfilling client orders and all of that. And so yeah, it's definitely been challenging, but yeah, he's fantastically supportive, and so that has been really a driving force in my ability to be able to take on as much as I can take on. So yes.
Hi, Angelica.
Hi.
I'm curious about how the partnership and the shared resource for getting the studio and how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So my studio mates are Deborah Thornton and Taylor Marie, and Debbie and I have been studio mates for about 7 years, Taylor for about 5, and we get along great. Like, we love each other as people and friends. We're hanging out tonight just because we talk literally all day, every day. And so we decided we wanted to, build something new. We're like, well, we'll just make the studio its own entity. So the studio is called Studio 160. It's its own multi-member LLC that we are members of with our own LLCs. And so then we just manage it. Like, we have a shared spreadsheet where it's like we know how many, what assets have been invested. We've just three-way split everything. And so then that's our like equity in the studio. So we have it all like kind of dialed in that respect, but we are treating it basically as a cooperative business entity on its own, and then we run our own individual businesses under that. And so we have designated days in the week that we have the studio for. We're pretty flexible with each other. Like yesterday I had a shoot in there. Tuesday's not normally my day. I just traded my Monday with Debbie, so it was easy. We have a shared calendar, so we can always see who's in where and what. So we've got it pretty organized, and we did not get into a single argument the entire time building the studio over the last year. So so we work really well together. I'm really grateful for that.
Over here.
Yes.
So you mentioned the studio. Can you go back a couple slides to the studio? I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I noticed a beautiful, what looks like big cyc wall there.
Yes.
Those are hard to come by. Do you actually ever rent it out and let other photographers come use it, or
We're
videographers?
on the fence right now. We're just a little protective of the cyc wall because it's fragile and not a lot of people have used them. Like if you go into that little corner here, you're going to go right through the drywall. So, so we're considering potentially renting it out maybe to videographers who've worked on the spaces, but we're a little on the fence right now. The three of us are already in there, so it's already so shared between the three of us. So we're undecided at this point. It's not a no per se, but we just haven't decided if we're going to go that far. We're still just getting established and figuring out the light ourselves and like how to use the space before we decide if we're going to end up renting it out. Like, it would be a great space to rent for sure.
Yeah,
it's got a
awesome.
lot of, like,
it's
parking
such a
and everything.
resource. Yeah, it's very
Totally, yeah.
So along with tattoo studios, tattoo artists, because people who get a new tattoo would probably want it photographed right then when it's fresh.
Totally.
Because they're not going to cover it for 3 weeks. What about beauticians, people who do hair, nails, things like that? Have you collaborated with those around town to let them know what you're doing?
I mean, I have some relationships with them, but yeah, I haven't collaborated too closely with them. I've tried to figure out how that might make sense, because I have my hair and makeup artist does the styling, so it's not like I would have them sent to somebody else for the styling. But yeah, that's definitely like within the shared audience. So I know people that are in that area, but haven't collaborated too directly with them at this point. But tattoos for sure. I plan to go to a tattoo expo next year. I'm in the wedding show in January and then going to a tattoo expo. Because you're right, people who do particularly large statement pieces love to have them photographed, and they appreciate art too. So,
I have a question for you. I know you do boudoir, but do you do children? Or does
yes,
one of your
children generally, I ask that they be like 5 or older because they just need to be able to take direction. I don't do a ton of the lifestyle-y, like in the moment stuff. It is a little bit more guided, directed portraiture. So as long as they can take direction, which is usually about 5, like kindergarten age, then yes, absolutely.
because I work with a couple studios here in Grants Pass, and they're dance studios.
Oh, cool.
And I'm sure those parents would
Oh,
love,
I would love to
get some
photograph
pictures
dancers.
where their 13-year-old daughter is maybe just in, maybe a costume or maybe just a dance skin.
Oh, absolutely. I
You
would love
know,
that. Would be
and do something
beautiful
like
on that psych wall. We could do so many cool things on that.
And
like,
so I just
yeah.
thought that might be another avenue you could go to.
That's a great
because,
idea. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't reached out to dance
get those
studios.
feelings, and those ages are only those ages at that time.
Right, exactly.
So it is something that a lot of parents are like, I need to get it now.
Yeah, I love that. That's a
And
great
I don't
suggestion.
think you'd have many young children.
True,
But I think
yeah.
you would probably have 10 and above.
Yeah, that
And
would be perfect.
Especially when they're to the point where they're graduating high school. So a lot of times those people end up moving out of the studio because they're going to college now. But there's also been many of them have become professionals now in the world.
So cool. Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be another avenue for you to look at and look into.
Great idea. I would love to photograph dancers. I used to dance, so I love like the lines again because I'm very into the art of that.
All right. If we have no more questions, I would love it if we could give Angelica a huge round of applause. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I only did this for the cup.
Big hand. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah. You mentioned something there about when you were talking about the boudoir shoots, and towards the end there, the empowerment piece. I also might know a little something like, do you actually give talks on that topic? Is that correct?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And so just leaning into that a little bit, do you also do any like coaching through, is it mostly through your photography sessions?
Mostly through the photography sessions, yeah. And I do speaking engagements on cultivating confidence and getting out of your own way. How do you through doing, how do you build confidence in yourself? So yeah, that's a topic that I address more in the speaking type engagements. I do still work, coaching and consulting. There's obviously a level of empowerment and support there. I get a little more tactical in terms of like operational techniques and things when it comes to that. But yeah, I feel like that the heart of my brand ultimately comes down to my desire to instill more confidence in people, because the more confident we are in ourselves, the more we're able to achieve in life. And so that's a passion.
I'm curious, like, if we were to rewind to back before that photo shoot happened for you, where you had that moment you had, and go before that, what would it have looked like for you to get up here and give a presentation? Would it have been different?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know that I'd be doing this at all.
Yeah, so, like, how we feel about how we show up and how much we want to hide ourselves really changes the level in which we show up out in the world, and whether we're willing to stand up here and even talk to a group of people if I don't want to be seen because of how I feel about myself. And so that's something that I think is a gift too, is something to share with people who are maybe struggling in that way, going through a process like you offer, which takes all the way through that process. Like, the end result is literally just photos of yourself, right? I think like there's a healing process in there that coming out on the other side, you as a human being can show up very differently because of just a change, a switch that happened in your head
100%.
in a moment. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for the vulnerability and sharing that, because that I think is that's a huge piece, and finding ways to lean into that and express that is, I think, also something that would lead to maybe even a next level of even a different offering that you could offer through the work that you're doing, but just to a different audience, right? Marketing in a different way.
Right,
Right. Anyways, thank you so much. Big
Thank
hand for
you.
Angelica. And a big hand for yourself for showing up today. I mean, look around. This is awesome. Yeah. And so again, our gratitude for all of you making your time and taking your time to come support Angelica, supporting each other, supporting the work that we're all doing here together. It's so important. And as Kim mentioned, next week we are doing a 1MC next week. It's going to be a special one. It'll be really great. We might even have some special offerings at the back of the room for all of you, some snacks and things like that. And so we hope to see all of you here next week as well. It is the day before Thanksgiving, so it really is going to be, hopefully, we'll have a great turnout then and be able to hang out and see each other in that space. Also, reminder, after this, we're going to take a little break and reset a little bit, but then Stuart is going to be giving his patent workshop. It doesn't cost anything to come participate in that workshop. So if that's something that is interesting to you, you have questions about, or you have a friend of yours who's making a product of any sort, right? Service, product, software, any of those pieces, call them right when we finish here. They have about a half hour to get down here because it's free and it potentially is life-changing if you're in that space, if that's something you're doing. So do that. Awesome? Cool? All right. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week or in a half hour.